Assalamualaikum. Okay, I have posted a video in the previous slide for you to watch so that you can get a clear overview what is operations management. So basically what you are going to learn for the whole semester for this operations management is what you have watched just now. Okay, so those who did not watch, please go back to the previous slide and watch. Okay, now we go to we start chapter 1, that is the operations management, the introduction. Okay, so first let's see the definition of operations management. So you have to have a textbook with you so that it is easier for you to understand what I am going to explain here. So the first word given here for the definition of operations management, later I will use the short form, that is OM. OM stands for operations management. So the first word given in the definition here is production, which means the creation of goods or services. So operations management here is related to the production. Production of what? Production of goods and services. Production ni bermaksud pengeluaran. So every organisation has its own production. It can be in a form of goods, that is something we can see, or in the form of services, that is something that we cannot see. So because of OM is related to the production, so every organisation should have its operations management. So let's see the proper definition for operations management, this one. Operations management here is the activities related to the creation of goods or services by transforming or converting the inputs into outputs. So operations management here, as I said just now, it is related to the production. Production means pengeluaran, meaning that it involves or it is related to the creation of goods and services. Okay. Activities related to the creation of goods or services. We go back to this. So this is actually the production. How? By transforming or converting the inputs into outputs. So to put it in illustration, so as I said, every organisation will have its output to be produced, and this output here is called as the production just now. Okay, output and production, they are the same thing. So in order to produce this output, there are activities to be done over here. So what are the activities? The company or the organisation should have the inputs, and this input will go into the process. So once all the inputs are processed, then output will be produced. So all the activities or the jobs incurred over here or done over here in order to transform, when the word transform here, the inputs into the output. So everything here is called as operations management. So just now in the previous slide, the first slide, what you watched was the creation or the production of automobiles or cars. So in order to get a complete car, there are a lot of tasks to be done, a lot of jobs. So these jobs are called as the activities over here. Okay, activity apa? Untuk menukarkan input over here and to get the output over here. Okay, now talking about the inputs over here, input ni. Okay, so input over here, you have to know what are or what is the meaning of inputs. Inputs here means the resources, sumber-sumber yang diperlukan. Okay, so the resources here can be the physical resources, such as the building, the raw material, those fall under physical resources. Financial resources, that is money in a form of capital. What else? Human resources, this is also the input. Human resources here means the workers. And lastly is the information resources. Information here means the knowledge. So input here, the organisation should have all these 4 types of inputs in order to produce the output. Okay, physical resources, as I said just now, the building, the raw material. the equipment. Those are the physical resources. So you see in the previous video, to produce cars as the output, the company or the organization needs machine, needs the factory, needs the raw material. So those are called as the physical resources. Financial resources, money. Does the organization need money? Yes, definitely. In order to pay salary, to buy the equipment, to lease a building, or to buy a land, those involve money, and that is called as financial input or financial resources. Human, workers. Human resources are the workers. Does an organisation need workers? Definitely an organisation need workers. Kalau tidak, siapa nak bekerja? And lastly is the information. Information here is the knowledge. In order to produce the output, the car, the organisation definitely needs a knowledge on how to produce the car, the right knowledge. If the organisation has the wrong information, but the organisation wants to produce a car, then output cannot be produced. So information here is very important. So please try to understand all these 4 types of resources and inputs. Okay, now we go to the transformation process. Okay, transformation process is another thing that you want to know. That is the process here. Transformation process here means the jobs that are being done. Tugas ataupun kerja yang sedang dilakukan, such as painting. Okay, kereta tak siap lagi, but the company is using the machine, using the input to do the job. That is called as the process. Painting is one of the example of transformation process. Job is being done. Testing is also called as transformation process. Machine is used in order to test the car. What else? Assembling, pemasangan, assembling the parts. So this is called as the transformation process as well. Okay. And finally, the last component of the operations management is the output over here. Output is this one. The output means the production of the organization. So there are 2 types of output. One is the goods. Another one is services. So it depends on the company what type of outputs to be produced. So operations management starts from selecting the inputs, which are all this. All the inputs will be processed over here, which we call as the transformation process. So once all the inputs are processed, then finally the output can be produced. So that is operations management. Okay, now we go to the functions of operations management. So another name for this slide is roles of operations manager. So why is it called as roles of operations manager? If you can recall what you have learned in MGT 162 last time during part 1, you have learned functions of managers. So there are 4 functions of managers, POLC, if you still remember. So this slide is actually the same thing. What are the functions of operations management? What are the functions of operations manager? Apa tugas operations manager? Okay, when we talk about operations management or OM, the person in charge or responsible to monitor the operations management is called as the operations manager. So orang yang bertanggungjawab untuk monitor operations department. Okay, so this is the department inside the organisation. You can see from the organisation chart. Maybe you are familiar with marketing, HR, and so on. There is one more department that you have to understand related to this subject is we call it as the operations management or operations department. Last time it was called as the production department. So this slide here is talking about the roles of the manager inside this department. Apa tugas dan tanggungjawab dia? So you have learned planning, organizing, leading and controlling, the POLC. So the only one new function here is staffing. So I assume you already understand, you already understood what is meant by POLC. Okay, kalau lupa, you go back and dig your notes for MGT 162, alright? I'm not going to repeat this. So staffing here is one more function or role of operations manager, which means that the operations manager has to recruit. Recruit means hire workers to work inside this department, production department or operations department. Train the workers to do their job related to production of the output, retain and also terminate employees. So the main thing is to recruit or to hire employees to work inside this operations department. Why? Because only the operations manager knows who is capable, who is qualified to work inside this operations department. Okay, so please try to understand these functions of operations management. Next, we go to the objectives of operations management. Objectives here you can see on page 6 in the textbook. Okay. Objective here means what are the purpose of having operations management inside an organization. So kenapa perlu ada operations management ni? What will happen if there is no operations management? Okay, so I'll try to explain to you a few points only, not everything. Okay, the first objective or the first purpose to have operations management is to utilize production resources efficiently. Okay, I have explained to you these resources when we define operations management just now. So dengan adanya operations management ni, tujuannya adalah untuk utilize, menggunakan sepenuhnya the resources that the organisation has, such as the human resources, the financial resources, material or physical resources. Okay, these are the three main things, and also information resources. So by having operations management, we have the operations manager in charge. So the operations manager will decide and plan on these resources. Physical resources, human resources, financial and also information resources. Maksudnya, bila ada operations management ni, operations manager ni akan plan secara systematic lah. How much money should they have in order to produce the output? How many workers are needed in order to produce the output, and so on. What types of physical resources needed, so that all the resources here can be fully utilized. Maksudnya, budget betul-betul. Berapa banyak information, all these resources are needed inside the organisation. If there is no operations management inside an organisation, then there is no operations manager. So then nobody is going to monitor on these inputs or resources. So what will happen is, tak adalah planning yang khusus untuk human resources, financial resources, tak ada budget yang betul-betul. So in the end, what will happen is wastage, pembaziran. Okay, so that is the first objective. Okay, the second objective here says, the objective of operations management is to enhance productivity through efficiency of production process. Enhance here means to improve. Improve productivity. Meningkatkan pengeluaran. Okay, that is the output. How? Through efficiency of production process. Okay, we had this just now in the definition of operations management: inputs, transformation process, and finally outputs will be produced over here. So the first objective here is focusing on input. Dengan adanya operation management, input ni akan di fully utilized. Bagus, tak ada pembaziran. The second point here says, by having operations management, then the company can improve the output here. Is improve how? By having a very good process. So macam mana benda tu boleh berlaku? Because we have the operations manager. So operations manager will also focus on the transformation process by ensuring that the process used in order to convert the input here to get the output is the best process. So operation manager ni lah akan fikirkan proses yang macam mana perlu dilakukan untuk tukarkan input kepada output. So by having the good process with the help of operations manager, because of we have the operations management, then productivity can be improved. Okay, then the next one is over here. The next objective is to achieve customer satisfaction by producing quality product or services at affordable price and prompt delivery. So operations management here, the purpose of having it is to make sure customers are satisfied, to satisfy the customers. Apa kaitan? Operations management is inside an organisation. Customers are outside the organisation. It is related to customer because of the company is producing the output. So by having operations management, there is an operations manager monitoring the good inputs and also ensuring the good process applied, and finally the output producer is having high quality. So when the output producer is having high quality with the help of operations management, sebab ada operations manager, then when customers buy our product, they will be satisfied. Okay, so it is very important here of the operations management. And number 4 here, to meet the expected demand and delivery date. To meet expected demand here means to fulfill customers' demand. Okay, when customers come and demand for our product, okay, this is the job of the operations department to produce the output. Okay, to produce the output over here, produce the output. So the operations manager here is also responsible to plan how many units of output to be produced in January, February, and so on. Every month there will be a plan on the production. So by having operations manager planning on the output to be produced, then when the customer comes and want to buy our product, the company is always able to fulfill customers' demand. Okay, manager dia punya job adalah untuk buat forecast. In January, how many units must be produced in order to fulfill customers' demand? So that must be done by the operations manager. So dengan adanya operations manager, because of operations management is there, company can always fulfill customers' demand. Okay, so I cover 4 only. So it is your responsibility to read another 2 points from the textbook. Okay, we go now to the characteristics of services and manufactured products. Okay, this slide here is related to the output. Okay, output in operations management, we have the inputs, transformation process, and finally the output over here. So this slide is related to output. As I said before, I mentioned before, there are 2 types of output, goods and also services. Okay, so goods here, another name for it is this manufactured products. So now we want to look at services first. What are the characteristics of services? Some companies or some organizations, they produce services such as cleaning company. Company yang buat service cleaning the offices or buildings. They don't have any goods, they don't have any products, manufactured products, but they are offering services. So what are the characteristics of services? First one is intangible output. Output ni bermaksud service tu sendiri. Intangible means cannot be seen, cannot be touched. So can we touch the service? Can we see the service? We cannot see. Pizza Hut delivery. So delivery service. Don't think about pizza. Pizza is something else. The delivery service, it is intangible. Why? Because we cannot see, we cannot touch. Are you sure you cannot touch or you cannot see the delivery service? Yes, but we can use the service. Delivery service, you can only see the person delivering, but you cannot touch the service. You are using the service. So that's why it is called as intangible. The next characteristic of service is output cannot be stored. Output here refers to this service. Cannot be stored here means cannot be kept inside a drawer, inside a box. Tak boleh disimpan. Why cannot be stored? Because we cannot touch. How can we store? We cannot even see. Next is high interaction with customers, meaning that the company or the organizations offering services, they will have to interact a lot with customers. Okay, company yang menawarkan servis, dia kena banyak berkomunikasi dengan customers. Why? Because the customers will specify what they want from the services. Pizza Hut delivery. Can Pizza Hut delivery perform their service, that is delivery service, without interacting with customers? Tak boleh kan? Interaction here, it doesn't mean only you call. No. It involves written communication and also verbal communication. If you interact with the company, if you are the customers, you interact using message. That is also called as interaction. Maksudnya they have to deal a lot with customers. Customers will have to specify what they want. So you as the customers, you call Pizza Hut delivery. I want this kind of pizza, 2 pizzas, 3 pizzas to be sent to my house at Baling ke Pendang, Kodang and so on. So you will have, customers will have to call the company, and the company will have to interact a lot with customers. Next is labor intensive. Labor means workers. The company producing services or offering services, they will have to hire a lot of workers to work for them or to deliver the service. So we just take Pizza Hut delivery. How many workers they have? Is it only 1 or 2? Impossible, right? Because customers are everywhere. So it is impossible to have only a few workers. So there are a lot of workers needed to deliver the service. In UiTM, education service or lecture service, how many lecturers are hired? Is it only 1 or 2 to deliver the lecture service to 3,000 students in UiTM Kedah? No, impossible. So that's why company offering service, they will have to have a lot of workers to perform the service. And last characteristic here is service quality is subjectively determined. Subjectively here means it is difficult to determine the service quality. Macam mana nak menentukan quality sesuatu service? So it is said over here subjective. Subjective means there is no specific way to determine the quality of a service. So what makes you say Pizza Hut delivery service has high quality? So maybe some of you say in terms of time taken, right? So we prefer the service or the pizza to be delivered as fast as they can, right? So if you receive your pizza within time, let's say 30 minutes, then you might say that the service quality is very high. But that is to you. But to some other people, the friendliness of the workers doing the service is more important rather than the time. So that is maybe another way to other people to determine the quality of a service. So there is no specific way to determine. I give you two situations here. Situation number 1, you order pizza and you receive your pizza in 30 minutes as they promised. Very fast, 30 minutes. So you might say that they have a very high service quality. Pizza Hut delivery has high service quality. But the person delivering the pizza to you has a very sour face, not friendly at all. Okay? If you ask question, that person not responding. No answers from that person delivering the pizza. So what is now your judgment towards the service quality? Even though you receive on time, but when you look at the second thing that happens, the person delivering is not so friendly, so you might change your opinion about the service quality now. So it is very subjective and it is very not hard. There is no specific way to determine service quality. Okay, now we go to the characteristics of manufactured product, or as in your textbook says, characteristics of goods on page 9. Okay, so because of products or manufactured products here has different nature than the services just now, so it will have a different characteristics. First, manufactured product here or goods here are tangible. Tangible means we can see, we can touch. What are the examples? Your shirt, your bag, your shoes, your stationery, your phone, those are called as the manufactured products and they are tangible. You can clearly see, you can touch. Products can be inventory. Product here refers to this manufactured product or the goods itself. Inventory here means can be stored, boleh disimpan. So you can put it, your stationery, you can put it in your bag, your phone, you can put it in your bag, in your pocket. So these products or goods can be stored, can be inventory. Next characteristic is low interaction with customers. So the company or the organizations producing manufactured products here, they don't interact with customers a lot. They don't really interact with customers. Why? because customers here, they are not involved in producing the product. But the word used over here is low. Low means that there is still interaction, but very low, sikit saja. Dia tak kata no interaction. So the customer still interact with the company producing the manufactured products or the goods here when the customers want to purchase the product only. Okay. Next is capital intensive. Capital here means money, duit, modal. Why? The company producing manufactured products such as the cars, the shirts, the bags, they need to have a lot of machines and equipment. They will have to have a factory as well, or the building. So all this, the factory, the machines, equipment, raw material, everything require a lot of money, require a lot of capital. So that's why it is called as capital intensive. And finally, the product quality is objectively determined. So this is the opposite of service quality tadi. Service quality is subjectively. Subjective means there is no specific way to determine the quality. But product quality here, there are specific ways to determine the quality. Ada kriteria yang tertentu yang mana kita boleh tengok dan ambil and consider, then we can determine the quality of the product by looking at this criteria. So what are the criteria? The performance, let's say. The performance of the product, the performance of a phone, telephone, or the performance of your stationery, pen, let's say. So how to give example of performance of pen? You can use your pen for 1 complete year. So that is called as a very good performance of pen. So if your pen can be used for 1 complete year, so we can say that the performance is very high, so it results in high quality. Reliability is another criteria that we can use to determine the quality of a product. Reliability means you can rely on the product. Your phone, let's say, you can rely on your phone to wake you up in the morning because there is an alarm system in your phone. So if you can trust your phone to wake you up every morning, so your phone is reliable, so your phone has high quality. So there are specific ways to determine the quality of a product. Lagi, durability, tahan lama. Durability, you buy a phone and your phone can be used for 10 years compared to a phone which can be used only for 3 months. So definitely a phone that can be used for 10 years has higher quality because of high durability. See, there are specific ways to determine the quality of a product or goods. Okay, for this slide onwards until the end of the chapter, it talks about the operation system model. Okay, this operation system model, I have already explained some of the components here, which are the inputs, transformation process, outputs, and also feedback. So this operation system model come from the definition just now. So all these 4 items, as I tick over here, they are called as the components. Okay, components of operations management or operation system. Okay, so how many components are there for operations management, operation system? There are 4 components. So you have understood what is meant by inputs and also transformation process and also the output. The only thing not covered in the definition is the feedback. So feedback here means the evaluation of the customers towards the output produced. When customers purchase the outputs that the company produce, they will give the feedback in terms of their evaluation on the output, whether they are satisfied or not satisfied, whether they will become loyal customers or not. So that is called as the feedback. Okay, so each and every item here or component here is explained in the next few slides. Okay, so don't worry about the meaning of systems here. Okay, operation system also don't worry. What you have to worry more is this: components or elements in the operation system. So there are these 4 components. So remember, the word used here is the components. Example given, or the explanation given, the inputs are this. Okay, it can be as the raw material and all. Transformation process, it is the conversion of inputs into the outputs. Okay, so don't worry about this, as well as this, don't have to worry. You go straight away to outputs, that is the end result or the finished product, and feedback here is the evaluation of output produced. Okay, so the example of feedback is satisfaction, no satisfaction, complaint, loyalty and all. Okay, so to get a clear picture on this operation system model, you can see on page on page 4. Okay, on page 4 in the table, table 1.1, that says operation system for tangible and intangible products. So this table has already given you the examples of the inputs, process, output and feedback for each and every organisation. So organisation such as hospital, apa input dia? Okay, so for the input given in the textbook here, it focuses more on the human resources as well as the physical resources. Okay, you can see here the input given is the specific input. For example, for hospital, the input given here is patients, doctors. So these are called as specific, maksudnya spesifik nama untuk inputs to doctors. Doctors are the people who work in a hospital. Dia tak tulis workers kat sini or human resources, but the human resources are called as the doctors. Okay, same goes to a restaurant. You see the input given here is the chef. Chefs are working in a restaurant, so very specific input listed over here. Okay, so you can refer to this table to understand more on the examples of the operation system model. So that's all for chapter 1. It is very easy and I hope you understand what is an operation management. Okay, thank you and Assalamualaikum.